Thank you for joining us on KHOU 11 Plus. I'm Sherman Chow. We're tracking storms that have been bringing heavy downpours and lightning across the area. We've got team coverage with meteorologists Kim Castro and Pat Kavlin. Our Katira Winfrey checking out the road conditions in our weather tracker. We're going to start with her. Katira, where are you and how are things looking?
Hey Sherman, we're just off of 45, literally passing the exit for Hobby Airport. And right now things are looking really great. Earlier today we saw rain kind of coming down continuously, and we're still seeing that rain, but it's much lighter. And we are looking at 12:30 right now, and we're on 45, and we don't see all of that traffic. So my guess is that people are just trying to stay in and stay dry. But for the last several hours since we've been traveling up and down 45 through Houston all the way down to League City, we've kind of seen the same thing in terms of people staying off the road, but the rain has gotten stronger and lighter depending on where you are. Now, when we were down in League City, there were times where it was coming down quite a bit, and we heard some of our meteorologists tell us that that's where we would see some of that heavier rain. Now, even with that heavy rain, we were always on the lookout to see what did the side of the roads look like. Were we going to see some of that ponding? Now, we did see some of it in some of those low-lying areas. We saw some big trucks or big, regular trucks going through, not with too much trouble, but as you can imagine with those cars that sit a lot lower, they might have had some trouble. And as far as the highways, we saw ponding at times on those entrance ramps when we were going up in certain areas. But right now, as we enter into the city of Houston, we're passing Monroe right now, we see things getting a lot better. So cars are still moving smoothly. The rain is coming down very lightly. But as we've been getting on and off the highway, we've been looking at like some retention ponds and things of that nature. And you can tell rain has definitely come through. But again, they must be doing their job collecting the rainwater that we're seeing. But again, just 12:30 in the middle of the week to see this little bit of traffic on I-45 is something to take into account, to know that people must be paying attention to the weather. But again, we've been driving from 45 through Houston, through League City, and making our way back into downtown. And hopefully we'll continue to see conditions improve as we travel throughout the day. But I know our meteorology team and of course our reporter teams are out here on the roads, out here looking at the airports and the delays they've been experiencing. But right now on I-45 heading into Houston, things are looking much better than they were earlier. Sherman.
All right, that is the good news. All right, thank you, Katira. So let's take things over to our weather team. Kim Castro, what's the latest?
Yeah, we got a good soaking to start off the day. Widespread rain door to door here in Southeast Texas. That's not the case anymore. In fact, if you look out north towards Katira or out west, good clearing behind this batch of storms that's now wiping eastward. You'll notice there's a particular area, though, that's catching our eye in bright red. A couple of storms lifting from the Gulf Coast into Winnie right now with a little bit extra strength. So not just heavy rain, but the National Weather Service tracking the potential of some wind associated with this. So the special weather statement means it's just below severe thunderstorm criteria, but just strong enough to pique your interest. Gusts at 40 miles an hour, and there's even a potential of some very small hail. Now that's been pushed just east of Winnie at this point. Again, these storms are moving pretty fast. Another area of concern, a flood advisory down the Gulf Freeway towards Galveston, just northeast of Bay Harbor. And that's because this is an area that saw some significant rainfall. Here's a loop over the last 2 hours. So the storms lifted in from Galveston, pushed to the Boulevard Peninsula, moved into Winnie, and now exiting towards East Texas, eventually towards Louisiana. Lots of lightning with this batch of storms. Number of strikes over the last 10 minutes, close to 400. So we're not really seeing this number diminish any. You'll notice the difference between negative and positive strikes. If you're curious why, negative strikes come from the bottom of the thunderstorm cell, positive strikes come from the top, and positive ones are actually 10 times stronger. So we don't like to see the positive count grow higher than the negative one. That's when we kind of get a signal that these storms are gaining intensity and could potentially turn severe. So luckily, things are starting to quiet down, certainly for the loop. Check that out. I mean, the heights closer towards the Galleria, Lamar Terrace, either a light sprinkle or actually starting to see the rain wrap up altogether. Magnolia Park, Gulf Crest, so traveling along 610 on the east side, pushing towards Galena Park, Jacinto City. Still some moderate showers, moderate for Pasadena too, along the Beltway. Brookside Village, light rain, and then there's still a batch of some heavier rainfall from Mont Belvieu to Baytown Shore Acres. So along the bay, you're getting hit with some rain, but lightning is also going to be an issue there, by the way. So it's not a good boating day for anybody that was thinking they might do that with the kiddos if they're off for school. Any plans though in Bel Air, Westwood Park, Spring Valley, Hunters Creek? Looks pretty good. The weather impact alert extends until 3, and this is mainly for the coastline at this point. I think folks in the loop in the Beltway, the city center, will be just fine. We're just looking at some lighter rain at this point. Watch for the slick spots on the road though. It always makes for a messy commute when we had widespread rain for a number of hours. You'll notice rainfall chances really start to go down. Could you see an isolated shower this afternoon? It's possible, but I think most of us are actually going to start to dry up. Notice though, we will continue to watch for any additional accumulating rain because we've seen a couple of bullseye areas that got a little bit of extra rain. Right now, Hecker is not seeing additional rainfall, but they did see a quick 1 to 2 inches when we started off the day. Lee City rainfall at this point, very light. A few tenths of an inch is all, but look at the big picture over the last 2 days. There's definitely been some areas where rain has accumulated. If you notice the spots in bright yellow, that's going to be anywhere between 3 to even closer to 6 inches of rain, especially towards El Campo, so Wharton County down in Matagorda, even Brazoria going down 288 towards Angleton. Those are some of the areas that have had a lot of rain. We also have our neighborhood weather network. So I just showed you rainfall estimates. These are exact rainfall totals based on the gauges that we have in people's homes. So Meyerland on Kinglet Street has gotten 1.75 inches of rain. So coming up close to 2 inches there. Closer to 1 inch though towards Bunker Hill Village. So Peoplebrook Drive, about 1 inch of rain. Shady River Drive, a little more than 1 inch. That's all very manageable. Now, if you take you towards Matagorda, that's where we saw a little bit extra rain. FM 3156, about 2 inches of exact rainfall. Again, not rain gauges. And so because of that, we are going to be monitoring the potential for localized street flooding. I think for most of us, that won't be an issue. However, low-lying areas, maybe you see some ponding. There's a possibility for a couple of high water spots, but I think that potential is really shifting east at this point. So if you do travel or plan to travel in Chambers County, that would be an issue, or that would be an area rather where you might want to avoid or perhaps delay that travel. The good news with the rain though, my goodness, it feels a lot better outside. We've seen a significant temperature drop, anywhere between 4 to 13 degrees cooler than where we were yesterday. Let's look at the actual air temperatures now. The 70s. I mean, that's a treat. 75 degrees right now in Huntsville, Tomball, Bush, 74, 72 for Hobby, Galveston holding on to 80 degrees with a little bit extra moisture in the area. High temperature for today only maxing out at 83 degrees. So today is going to be one of those rare below average days. Future track radar shows us, we got nothing really for the rest of today. Tomorrow, most of the moisture is going to be along the I-10 corridor and area south. We're mainly cloudy this evening, wrapping up the rain. More sun and a couple more scattered storms tomorrow. Rain chances still there on your Friday, but much more isolated. So big improvements as we wrap up the month of May. Look at it in review. I mean, the red really jumps out at you, doesn't it? Those are the days that we've seen temperatures above average. We've had 17 of those. And notice the days that I have a star on them. So the 13th, the 14th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are record-breaking days. So not just hot, but much hotter for this time of year. Yesterday was a day that was hotter. And today, I think we're going to finally start to add on to the tally of below normal days. With a high temperature of 83 degrees, we should be on the safe side. So today remains a day that we monitor for at least a couple more hours, and then we start to lower those rain chances. We do have a team coverage today, so meteorologist Pat Kavlin is with us. He's going to walk you through, in case you're just joining this live stream, he's going to talk about how much rain we've gotten, how much rain we're going to see coming up, and some good things that come with the rain, like you were talking about a drop in humidity. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so Kim, like you said, we've gotten a lot of rain today, but we do have light at the end of the tunnel. This isn't going to go on forever. We do see some drier weather arriving as we get to the end of the week, and then especially as we get into the weekend. But boy, it's been a really wet 12 hours alone across the area, especially from I-10 and Point South down towards the coastal areas, taking you into Wharton and Matagorda County. Look at some of these radar estimates. 4.5 inches of rain north of Bay City. Around El Campo, around 2 inches of rain, gotten just over 3 inches of rain out towards Hawkinsville, same as you get out towards Angleton. Into Brazoria and Galveston counties, also big totals. And these are 12-hour totals, but a lot of this has fallen since about 8 o'clock this morning, so even a smaller window than that, only about 4 hours. Gotten 3.5 inches of rain out towards Alvin, again, just over 3 for Angleton. Down towards Galveston Island, tons of rain. We were watching on the cameras. Thankfully, a lot of that's starting to pivot out of the area, but you got about 3.5 inches of rain. And then out towards League City, San Leon, Santa Fe, 3 to 3.5 inches as well. It's been a really rough ride along I-45. Fortunately, though, as Katira mentioned at the beginning of this broadcast, the conditions are improving, and we're going to see that really start to take hold across a good part of the area as this rain moves out. Into the city, it's been really hit or miss. East side, especially going to the north, up towards Magnolia Gardens. We've got maybe about a half an inch of rain, radar estimated. Down across southeast Houston, just south of Hobby along the Beltway, about an inch of rain. But then you go to places like Bel Air, where we've gotten about 3.5 inches of rain. So some really big totals, but it's been in pockets. I know, areas like the Heights, River Oaks, Montrose, you haven't seen a ton of rain, but going up towards places like Jersey Village, you've got nearly 2 inches of rain. And those totals are actually even higher going beyond that to the north and west. Around Pinehurst, 3 inches of rain. Cypress, you've gotten 2.5 inches of rain. Around the Tomball area, 2 inches of rain as well. So definitely seeing areas where it's kind of been winners and losers in terms of rain totals, but we'll take any bit of rain that we can get with this heat recently. We've certainly been running a bit dry in some areas, especially once you go west of the area. Rain chances are going to be on the decrease, though, as we go through the next few hours. So we're sitting at about 50 to 60% rain chances right now, but that mainly, remember, this is for the whole area. So that's mainly for the city and points east. As we go through the afternoon and the evening, though, the rain chances really start to drop off here. We're down to about a 20% chance by this evening, and we'll hang on to those lower chances as we get into the overnight. So it's mainly cloudy. Rain comes to an end as we go through the rest of the evening. For tomorrow, a front starts to approach. Now, that'll bring us a couple more scattered downpours and thunderstorms, especially towards the coast for the afternoon. But I do think we trend towards more sunshine as we get into tomorrow. And then same deal for Friday, but we actually get a front that pushes through, and that will bring us a mix of sun and clouds and a few isolated storms before we get a drop in humidity for Friday night. So here's Future Track. Those big storms and downpours that Kim was showing you on radar, those are out towards Chambers County. Those pivot out of the area as we get to the evening. Not only do we dry out, but we'll get some sunshine here as we get towards the second half of the afternoon. We will be watching some storms, though, out towards the Waco area and the hill country, because these will come in overnight. So figure around 9 to 10 p.m. And notice how these are kind of bowing out. We have that bow shape to the storms. That could indicate the potential maybe for some feisty storms, maybe with some damage and wind gusts. Those will arrive into the city as they weaken by about midnight, and then we clear things out getting into Thursday morning. Thursday starts off mainly dry, maybe a couple showers at the coast, but I do think as we get into the afternoon, as skies start to clear, as we start to get more sunshine, everything heats up, we get into the low 90s. We could see a couple of storms flare up south of the city, and that will continue here through the evening. And then I think we do that again on Friday as that front comes in. So the severe threat for this evening focused across north and central Texas. As those storms start to dive south, though, they'll lose their strength, but there is the potential that maybe one or two of them remain severe It's a non-zero chance, but on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the worst, it is the lowest threat. So we do have that weather impact alert in effect through about 2 or 3 o'clock this afternoon. Then we'll see clearing for the evening. Afternoon storms then as we get into tomorrow and Friday, and we do trend warmer with temperatures in the 90s getting into the weekend and the beginning of next week. So Sherman, just a couple more hours to go with this.
All righty, looking at that 3 o'clock time. All right,
Yes.
thanks a bunch. As always, be sure to download our free KHOU 11 mobile app and turn on notifications to follow the forecast. And we'll see you back here on TV for KHOU 11 News at 4 o'clock. Try and stay dry.